the question is that England is a WDIDL word, a word different in different languages. What is it in Georgian? Georgian corrects the spelling to I, but the first letter has moved from A to E to I. Go back in the time machine. We find the part of North Germany called Angeln. The ancestors of English came from there. How about the Georgians? There were two groups in Lazica and Iberia, and the Romans were in both countries. Looking at different texts about England, they want to do two things. One, help you pronounce English words correctly when you see them. In order to do this, we will need to code them, as I will explain. The coding is easy enough, but overall, it is not that easy, because, as I told you, English is really 4 languages in one: Latin, Anglo-Saxon, Early Norwegian, and French. 2, help you to read in a way which communicates to the listener that you understand what you're reading, and that you're interested in it, and that you want to share it. The first skill is about learning to harmonize the words, developing an ability to analyze them along the memory of the tricks they can play. The second skill is really about acting and developing your acting and even musical skills, and about listening, and about not being worried if what you say sounds strange or seems to. Boldness is good, and speaking audibly is even better. The first word was cow on the cover picture. It is easy. It has the same sound as out, or thousands, or sound itself. And in crown, which is on the letterbox. What do you think E and R mean on the letterbox? Can you see anything else? So that sound, ow, is one you know. There are maybe 22, so be prepared for some mental activity. Ow, O-U, and ow, O-W. For example, are 2 ways of spelling ow. And because ow needs to be said quickly, I'm going to underline it like this. Ow. The underlining means say it quickly. The sound groups which we meet within words we read will always be referenced in green. The explanations in red, in italics, and the sound group sequence itself underlined, red, no italics. Learning spellings and sounds properly can be quite a long and even a difficult job, but I will do my best to make it easy and clear by finding new ways of explaining things and so making everything interesting. We had signposts also on the cover. Now, in order to teach you how to pronounce words, I'm going to have to use some special graphics which we will evolve together. Sign starts with an S and finishes with an N. Now, the letters B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, R, S, T, V, W, and Z are consonants. That means letters which sound together with the vowels. So our first job is to classify and distinguish between these. B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, F, E, W, R, 16 or 17, U, A, Y, I, E, O, 5 or 6. The vowels are A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. You can forget Q or Q-U until you see it. I can promise you that you will only find it at this level in one word, queen. It's really a special case of the vowel we with a qu stuck on the front and n at the end. In English, always needs a U after it's spelled, by the way, making qu. Z you will not see after the first grade, but you learn Zebra. This is not a word I have ever needed in my life, not even when I visited the zoo, which actually is another Z word, not one you will use very much, if at all. So we can forget Z, and W and V are best considered as one sound with two variants. Fine has vowel I, but only if there comes immediately after as a consonant, for example, in swim, is it pronounced E. Sign, in fact, is pronounced shine. G in this word is a sleeping letter, which means that it does not contribute to the pronunciation except to tell us that the vowel sound will not be E. Sleeping letters are one of the tricky things in English, but actually they do a useful job telling us that there is something not so simple going on as well, so we could call them sleepy signalling letters. The most famous ones are the consonant pair GH, which, when they occur together, are perhaps the sleepiest letters in the English language. Vowel, by the way, means the sounds which give a voice to the letters which sound with them, or simply the sounds which go with the consonants. Before them, some after them, and even, as I told you, sometimes working together with one in front, and one after the consonant, as in the word make. A is A and E is E, but together they're A. So the word is make. Make. Which I never like, because when actually spoken, it is spoken quite fast. Notice that I'm not talking about reading fast, which I do not advise. I want you to read quite slowly, so that you can learn to read with expression and meaning. I'm talking about the speed of the sound. B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, S, T, V, W, R. 16 or 17. U, A, Y, I, E, O. 5 or 6. Quite simple, was the name Shakespeare? The first part of it, shake, rhymes directly with make. Then you just need two consonants, consonant friends, SP, sp, which is easy enough and a very common English sound. And the second vowel group is pronounced ear, but immediately followed by R like this, ear, ear, and rhymes exactly with ear. The last E is just there because it is an old name. And although the writer probably wanted it spelled like that, not everybody, even Shakespeare himself, has always done so. William Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, W. Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, William Shakespeare. In the post part of signpost, we have a moonlighting consonant, the S. We can also call it a diligent consonant, a consonant that works hard, and those children you find in every school. It is doing a job of work, making up the first half of the consonant pair, ST, st. But it's also working hard and doing the second job. That's what moonlighting means, by pretending to be a hidden E or something like this in post. I have here used an arrow to show what the S is doing. It's affecting the O. And I've given results. This is generating an E, which we do not see in the spelling, in blue and in black brackets, very fancy. Or we could say that it is signalling, by being there as part of the ST, that the preceding O is not pronounced in simple words, with the fundamental sound of O, such as we find in got, not, plot, which is a piece of land or a plan to do something bad, or cot, which is a small bed for a baby. We can also say that the ST is making the O sound different. So Some of you might then say, well, it's like one of those bad bullying children you find in every school who are bigger and twist the arms of the smaller boys unmercifully. Sure, when you are learning a language, I am of the opinion that it is better to think of the letters in it as your friends, not your enemies. Not even enemies of other letters, you never know. Countries is pronounced countries with a second vowel group, i.e. pronounced E. The O highlighted here in green, countries, is really a signalling vowel, in fact a sleeping signalling letter. Like the G in sign. But here it comes before the letter it is giving us information about, whereas in sign, the sleeping signalling letter was the G which came after the vowel R, which was part of what it was changing. And this time it's a vowel, not a consonant. But proactively, make a note of that word. I want to use it again. It is doing a very similar job. I will just put in an arrow to make that clearer. Just as we use an arrow in, I'll get the signalling letters in green and put the modified vowel in purple, using an arrow to show the effect the letter has in the word and the direction from which the modifying influence is coming. In this case, backwards. Country, in fact, comes from a Latin word meaning the land which is lying against, in Latin against is contra, a town. Land which is lying against a town. Country. English introduced you and changed the pronunciation, making the vowel sound lower in the throat when spoken. From O, that's in the middle to the top of the throat, and somewhere in the middle top half, with the mouth half open and the sound flying straight out and forward, to O, pronounced in the lower part, in the bottom of the throat, with the mouth fully open and feeling almost as if it is directing the sound down towards the ground. That sort of thing is always happening in languages which are like a collection of things in your house. Some new, maybe yours, and some older, maybe belonging to your parents. And some, older still, maybe belonging to your grandparents, or even people who are no longer alive. I'm not going to go through all the words in the extract, but just the ones you might have difficulty with. Great was one, but you already know this word is just a spelling which reflects the sound A. We have churches. Here we see an example of nouns ending in a hissing, buzzing, or shushing sound in Alison Head's words, which, when we are talking of two or more of them, is spelt in ES rather than just S. Such word endings are pronounced is. In our definition, that's the proactive influence of the consonant phrase, CH. Consonant frames, when audible, I have put in purple, example CH, but when they are not audible, example GA, I put them in dark blue. Villages, je sound, and beaches behave in exactly the same way. In boat, the vowel sound is O, and the A is a signalling, sleeping vowel because it does not appear in the pronunciation. It just indicates that this is a modified or changed O sound, so we should maybe write the word for study purposes with an arrow. Boat. And castle, as I told you, is a Roman word originally, Latin castellum. The first four letters are the same. French has CH instead of C, and the S is lost and hidden in a small sign over the A like this. A cellula. Well, the end of the word is an O, whereas in English it is quite close to Latin castellum. It retains the M. English castle, French chateau, Latin castellum. I have put the endings of this word in green. The ending is the least important part, and if it gets changed, people still understand the word. But in these words, the beginning in yellow is very important, and even though French loses the S, the T is still there after the strong CH at the start of the word. Words do things like that. Let us call them words changing in different languages. WCIDL. They change in different languages, but really they remain the same word, just as the Queen will wear different clothes when opening Parliament, when attending Highland Games, when at church, or when at Royal Ascot. But will still remain the same now very well-known Queen. The different versions of the word in different languages are known as cognates, by the way, from a Latin word to know. B, C, D, E, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, S, T, V, W, R, 16 or 17. U, A, Y, I, E, O, 12 or 6. Consonants and vowels, remember. That is the end of chapter 1. In the next lesson, we will decide on ways of singing them, and even wonder about discovering ways of singing ST and SP and GN and GH. No one said it would get easy, but it will be great fun. So, see you in the